Ladies and gentlemen from the Microsoft Theater here in downtown Los Angeles.
Hey, yo, I see you, man.
Brought to you by Shawn Porter Promotions.
Hey, yo, Shawn Porter, hold tight. We coming out there.
Live from Los Angeles.
Hey, yo, put your headphones on, man.
Time for the main...
We ready for this today, yo?
Yeah.
Welcome
I don't know.
to the Overweight Podcast.
I don't know why you
everybody.
looked at me like I was gonna do something.
Yeah,
I was
we built for this.
yeah.
Hey, man, listen. Let's get right to it.
Hey, we ready, my man.
Yeah.
He got the big boy socks on.
You already know the
I got
bamboo socks
I got the
on.
big boy sea moss. You got the big boy
Oh,
tie.
you threw something in there?
Nah.
Nah, you ain't throwing nothing in
I'm
there.
fresh off a
you don't know?
plane. I'm fresh off a plane. Like, but I've been on it. I'm feeling
And
good.
you don't know
You
if
rolling
CMOS
like that,
You don't
huh?
know if CMOS is in there or not. To be honest,
Hey,
could be.
It
fresh
ain't
off
in
the PJ. You know.
Oh,
That's pajamas. For those that don't know,
oh.
fresh off the pajamas.
Oh.
Footy
Sean let me
pajamas.
borrow his PJ.
Nah, I ain't never did that.
So far, Sean has a yacht and a private jet, according to these last
And
episodes.
on according to YouTube. He got all type. He got
all kinds of
My man got a lion. He got a liger. Hey, you know it's a real thing.
Yeah.
Come on, hey.
Well,
we
let's
ain't
get
gonna
your
do
liger.
this. We ain't gonna
Yeah.
do this today.
Get your. You know what? He needs to get his kids some animals. You don't be that dad.
One is 2 going on 3, and the other one is 3 months.
He will, and the bigger one will love it. What you think he should get? I'm thinking of what you thinking.
I don't know. You started to say the other. You're gonna say Velociraptor. I was like, he's got money, but I don't know if he has Velociraptor money. I don't know if he has Jurassic World.
You got money to get a
I
dinosaur?
don't got money.
Yeah, all
I
right.
don't got
He get
money.
dinosaur
Hey.
is the instant oatmeal.
Hey, who got money in this room? Look how he dressed. Look how we dress.
That's true.
This is the decisions have been made today.
That's
This is
all.
the decision
That's what
you
we can
decided to
afford.
make, and that's the decision you decided to make.
Keeping it casual.
That's PJ wear.
Yeah, big boy PJ wear.
Oh, that's PJ wear, huh?
Yeah, you know. yeah.
I highly doubt it.
Oh, how about to dress on PJ?
Do you have to change the dress code up on the PJ?
Dang.
100%.
Corncob pipe and a ascot sweater.
I own a couple of ascots.
I'm not
You know
shocked
what?
by that.
Matter of fact, when you was on the PJ, you wasn't dressed like that. Yeah, I mean, when you on it, yeah, don't play me.
I don't remember what I had.
I can say confidently I've never been on one. I fly the
Let's get this man on the PJ.
Nah, I
we'll
fly
get
the
this man a
cheap
PJ and a
airlines
suit.
where you have to pay for all your bags except the personal item.
PJ is nice.
Feel free to
Yeah,
send me
man,
free
it's
flights.
nice.
Yeah,
It's nice.
yeah.
And it ain't it to me, for me, it's not even just the luxury of the plane. It's everything that come before the plane
yep.
and after the plane.
Flight leave at 11:30, be there at 11:10.
Right.
No
I can
TSA.
go back in time. He said flight left at 11:30.
No, he said if it leaves at 11:30, you get there just 20 minutes.
Oh yeah,
early.
you get there.
You gonna stop playing me, okay?
Your numbers be off, bro. You won't be hearing yourself.
He can't do it.
You got a co-signer today. That's all.
Hey, that's my guy.
You got a
Somebody got my
co-signer
back
today.
on this show.
I was here to
Because it
translate
ain't
the
gonna be
numbers.
you.
I was here to translate the numbers.
Yeah. My man, you was great with numbers?
No, I'm terrible.
Oh, you wasn't that guy,
No, I was terrible.
timetables, you be the first one to
No.
finish? Boom.
I was decent at timetables, but once the math started to have letters in it, I was down bad.
Okay.
I was good for a minute
Was you?
until the numbers started to have lines and triangles
Oh, yeah.
and hexagons.
Yeah, once they
Yeah.
got them swiggly things.
Yeah, when you got to the swiggly things, you lost me.
Once letters are in there, I'm like, I don't know. I don't
Hey,
know about all
kids, ignore this. I don't use none of that. And I'm doing very well in
He
life.
said, "Kids ignore it."
this. It's true. He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Hey,
What's
let's-
flow plus flow? Jello, Chris Rock. Chris Rock said they're bigger and blacker. Hold on, that was wild. Let's keep going.
That's old school.
You ain't gonna
right
give me
there.
one?
I didn't
You
get
gonna
it.
give
I don't know.
I don't know
Heck,
nothing from Bigger
Y'all
and Blacker. I
young,
don't.
y'all young.
I
Y'all
don't.
young
I need to go back and watch
Yeah, that
one.
was Chris Rock.
That's
I'm not
old school
familiar
right
with that
there.
Yeah.
Old school for me at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey man, let's get to it.
Yeah,
Bump
hell
all
yeah.
the nonsense.
Okay.
We going to you first.
Oh man.
Yeah, we going to you first.
I will see.
No, let me ask the question.
Oh, okay. I had to answer.
He was already answering. There wasn't even a question yet.
That was Godson.
I liked it.
I ain't got no question. Go ahead. What you got?
Where we going?
Lomachenko Lopez.
Recap.
Yeah.
Recap. Go ahead. Go ahead and recap.
Was able to get a chance to watch it last night. Shout out to Momo's in San Francisco. You guys took care of me. Treat me like a star.
You ain't what you are not.
Send us food.
Hey, they fools all right, man.
All right. Shout out to
All right, so anyways, watch the fight. Didn't go as expected. I don't know.
Oh,
what.
hold on, we skipping you. Hey, go.
All right. So
We skipping you. We skipping
What you mean?
You're full of nonsense right now.
it was
All right.
it went.
We'll come back.
All right.
Collect
It
your
was
thoughts.
first off. Let me just get out of the way. It was closer than most of the scorecards indicated.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But it was an interesting matchup where it seemed that I don't know. I want to give Teofimo a lot of credit first. Shout out to Teofimo. That's a young man that did the damn thing.
Young man.
4 belts, but I want to give him a lot of credit. I don't know if it was his. We kind of mentioned last night. I'm not sure if it was his speed or if Lomachenko felt his power, if it was that combined with ring rust for Lomachenko. But he's notoriously a slow starter. But that was
my man got his notes.
Yeah, he pulled the note card
My bad.
out. But
Keep
that was
going.
a very slow start from Lomachenko, and so yeah, that was unexpected. But I think the rounds that Lomachenko was himself, he won more handily than I think Teofimo did on some of those rounds. But no, it was. I think it was a weird fight to an extent, but it was a good fight just because there was so little activity from Lomachenko. It was kind of odd for those first rounds.
It was interesting for me to be as hyped as I was about the fight. It didn't really. It was almost as if I said, "Can this fight like underappreciate?" And there was something. I think it was the lack of work from Lomachenko that caused the fight to kind of. And it didn't have any laws. It didn't have any dips or anything like that. I think that it just wasn't. It wasn't quite as exciting as I expected it to be because one of the fighters didn't perform the way I expected them to perform, which can happen.
Yeah.
Which can happen.
And that also, like you mentioned, that can happen. And it's not, for everyone, it's not a one-way street. It wasn't Lomachenko fought that way because of Lomachenko.
Yep.
It was because of Lomachenko and because of what Teofimo was able to do.
Hey,
So
we definitely got to give him credit because I didn't see it going like that. He came in there and he got it done. He won the title. I don't want to hear it was a robbery. Nah, he got it done.
I feel like
my man.
Oh no, go ahead.
Yeah, my man came in there and won the belt.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we didn't watch it together because I may have so much confidence on Loma. After like 2 rounds, the girls was like, "What are they doing? What is he doing?"
Yeah.
I'm like, he's figuring he got this.
Yeah.
About the 4th, 5th round, I'm like, all right, he got to do something.
Yeah.
You can't just keep giving up rounds. And then I was like, oh, he got it. He gonna come on late. He gonna stop him. And I'm like, oh, he's not going. No, Lopez, like, I'm here to fight.
Their game plan backfired.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Which you just
What do you think the game plan was?
Lomachenko's game plan was to kind of wait it out. And he
Stand the fire?
He wanted Lopez to kind of work himself and get to a point where he
didn't do that.
himself. And
he stayed patient.
My man stayed patient. You
Yep.
have to recognize that.
Yep.
Yeah.
When someone isn't doing what you
Adjusted,
expect them to do, recognize that and go for it. So I really do feel like we didn't get much from Lomachenko's corner, but I feel like every time he went back to the corner, that might have been just telling him, hey, just wait it out.
Yeah.
Just wait it out. Just wait it out. Not yet. And that yet basically never came.
Yeah.
And I think he didn't turn it on until what, 6 or 6?
Absolutely.
So I had him personally.
And when he turned it on.
I
But
had Lomachenko winning, I think the second, and then I had him winning 7 through 11.
yeah, I think,
And then had Teofimo.
Yep.
So I think for me, I had it as either a draw, a slight win for Lomachenko, or a slight win for Lopez. But in order of, I think it was probably draw, Lopez, Lomachenko is how I had it.
Yeah, we all had it draw. I was like, dang, I could have bet the draw.
And also, people were acting like, oh, there's no way it was a draw. First off, Andre Ward had it as a draw on the broadcast.
Yeah.
Terrence Crawford also had it as a draw on Twitter.
Okay.
So it's not like, and then if it's close enough to be a draw, it's close enough that Lomachenko could have won that if you give him a round here and there.
There you go. There you go.
I thought it was a really good fight from Teofimo.
Impressive.
Yeah, he was good. He did really everything you could expect.
The 2 things I did not expect from Lomachenko, I think no one expected from Lomachenko. We spoke on this. We said Lopez has to get Lomachenko's respect as soon as he can.
Yeah.
Nobody, I did not, at least, I'm going to speak for myself, did not expect Lomachenko to show up in the ring and have as much respect for Lopez's power, Lopez's size as he had. I don't think he necessarily respected Lopez's speed. I think the speed was a surprise.
Yeah.
And I think that his back was against the wall immediately because it's okay, there's a jab coming out. How do I get past this jab without walking into something?
Yeah.
And Lopez had him shook ones.
Yeah, he said it.
From the opening bell.
And it's crazy because we didn't expect that.
Yeah.
We expected to be
The other
vice
way,
versa.
potentially, yeah.
Like that was
Well, no, I'm not. No. I didn't expect because I was watching Lopez throughout the night when they would show him. I didn't see the nerves. I didn't really see him behaving the way I would. That would give me a sense of him being uncomfortable or
I
anything
think
like
Ant
that.
was maybe alluding to we thought he might get frustrated.
Yeah.
With Lomachenko. Or do you think for you, with how slow Lomachenko started, you said obviously you think it was, had a lot of respect off the rip for his power. Do you think that's what it was primarily?
100%.
Okay.
It 100% was.
I don't disagree.
They've studied this dude,
Yeah.
And Lopez. We have, and I'm speaking as Lomachenko. We've studied this guy, and we know his abilities. We know what he's good at, and we're gonna take it away from him. And the way that I think they figured out to take it away from him was to let him spell himself over the course of a few rounds. Not really recognizing. Funny thing, not really recognizing that Lomachenko's a slow starter, in the sense that he doesn't really get going until round 3. Possibly 4, but it's because nobody else attacks Lomachenko the way Lopez did last night. So
did you also think? Sorry to cut you.
No.
Did you think it backfired a little by not pushing the pace with Lomachenko at like the first 5? That it literally let Lopez like. Okay.
And on top of that, he's building momentum.
Okay, here we go.
and
Let's go.
confidence, which is a part that's lost in the game plan. If you say, okay, and strong and that's powerful, but he's gonna slow down. Let's let him punch a little bit and get himself going, and then we'll come on and in the latter half of the fight, and we'll start to pour it on him, and he won't be ready. But you take out the fact that this is his first really humongous stage.
Yeah.
And he's going to start to feel good. He's not going to start to feel tired. He's not going to start to feel worn.
Yeah.
He's going to start to feel good.
Yeah, and energized.
Yeah.
What do you think for those rounds that Lomachenko did start to when he, like I said, when he was doing his thing in a big way.
Yeah, he definitely.
How compare that to the earlier rounds?
Yeah.
Why was Lomachenko, from a boxer's perspective, able to? Was it out of necessity that he needed to do that at that point?
Well, definitely that.
Yeah.
But let's go back to the momentum that we're speaking on. Lopez got into a rhythm. He's jab. He's going to the body, straight right to the body. Straight right to the body.
We talked about that.
Yeah.
Very smart of him, picking his punches, and being very precise with his punches as well. I mean, 23 years old.
Yeah, man.
Like you could not take this fight away from him.
No.
A draw would have been upset today.
He would have been upset.
No. I would have been upset.
Really?
With a draw, I would have been upset.
I was okay with a draw.
And even if you had given the fight to Lomachenko, I would have been extremely upset.
Okay.
You could not take this fight away from Lopez. And I'm not just hyping him up.
Yeah,
You
I got
take
you.
a look at the body of work he put in early on in the fight and was even consistent in the rounds that he lost. Those were close rounds as well.
And he was still throwing.
throwing. But going back to your question that I don't even remember what you asked.
So in the earlier rounds, you were talking about how Lomachenko was very respectful and very cautious of Teofimo's power. But then my question is, so how then was he able to, from 7 to 11, dominate the way he was able to?
I think, going back to the momentum, I think that through Lopez's rhythm and his being able to jab when he wanted to jab, go to the body when he wanted to go to the body, it was almost like he had forward movement, and got to a point where his rhythm became forward, and it was never back, and it was never left or right. So once Lomachenko finally did start to punch, it's like you got to expect this guy to punch, but his momentum is carrying him forward, and so it just took him a couple of rounds
to adjust
to going backwards and adjust to getting back on defense,
Yeah.
which he really didn't need, especially early on in the fight, because Lomachenko wasn't even throwing anything.
Right.
So you go from being responsible on defense, being ready for everything, to, okay, he's not throwing anything, I'm just going to take advantage. And then it got to a point where I personally feel that his momentum was carrying him forward. And then once you see Lomachenko finally start to let his hands go, it's almost like even at the points where he stopped walking forward and wasn't walking into the punches, it still was like his body, the muscle memory wasn't defense. The muscle memory wasn't getting his hands up. The muscle memory wasn't slip and get inside it or grab this guy, hold this guy.
It was just to keep your progress going
Yeah,
forward.
I think his progress was forward, and that became the rhythm, which is why he started to get caught.
For that, I know, and I don't know if you guys plan to. I don't really think we're gonna plan to go who's Teofimo gonna fight next. Enjoy the win. Shout out again. You got your belts. But
We may get there, but we'll see.
From the perspective of just looking at those two guys, Lomachenko and Teofimo, does a rematch go differently because we could get Lomachenko going earlier?
I thought about that too.
Because a lot of people said, oh, I don't want to see the rematch. Who cares?
I'm not going to say he's going to win in the rematch, Loma.
Yeah.
We get an even better fight.
Imagine
more explosive fight.
Imagine round 7 through 4.
Possibly with fans.
I think we get the explosive fight that we were
I
expecting.
want to be there.
Yeah. Imagine round 7 through 4 yesterday for 12 rounds.
Woo!
That's more so what I was expecting.
Yeah,
you
for
know?
sure. I think we all were.
I think we got one of those rounds a little earlier on, and we were kind of like, all right, here we go.
Yeah.
We're it's about to turn on.
Right.
And because I thought it was going to be like more so back and forth. And you're right. I do think that Lomachenko took care of rounds basically 7 through 10. I wasn't sure. I thought 11 was more of a swing round.
Okay.
And then I had Lopez winning the 12th round as well.
For sure.
So
I think Teofimo hurt him in the 12th. I think he had him dazed a
I
little
think
bit there.
both guys, there were some points. I couldn't really tell
the
if Teo was hurt to the body.
Lopez probably got hurt 8 or 9.
Body shot?
I feel like, he got touched, but also Loma got touched
Yeah, Loma.
too.
Yeah, and again, I mean, let's go back to the earlier part of this fight when Lomachenko is not throwing anything. You can kind of see where his worry was and where his concerns were later on in the fight once he starts to let his hands go and he's landing. But then there were a few occasions where Lopez threw back, uppercut that missed. He had quite a few uppercuts that were just barely off the nose and early on in the fight that may land if Lomachenko's going forward more. You know?
So when you're talking about missing punches, I wanted to tell you. So we're watching the fight yesterday, and so you and I watched Shawn's fight versus Keith, and there was another guy there that had bet on Shawn. So every punch that was close, you remember what I'm talking about. He was going, oh, he's hurt.
Yeah.
So Shawn and other Shawn were watching the fight yesterday.
They was been that good.
Every single time.
You guys
Teofimo-
been around the game too long.
I know.
So I'm sitting next to my cousin there,
Yeah.
and we're watching, and Teofimo's throwing these punches, and like he's throwing a straight shot, but it's clearly either grazing his glove or missing his shoulder or anything, and they're going, oh, here we go. And I'm like, guys, you guys sound like idiots. And they know boxing too well. They were drinking the Kool-Aid last night of Teofimo, which deservedly so.
Both guys.
Because he did the damn thing.
Yeah, both guys.
But yeah, they were like, every time he threw, I was like, come on,
man.
relax.
You're right. You've been around the game too long.
Yeah, Shawn for fight hype too.
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, you ain't getting away with it.
Yeah, and we literally had, we literally had the, I was like, these aren't landing, so please relax. Like, just take a breath.
They were literally that
100%.
Did they ever calm down?
No, never.
All right, so yeah, let's go back to it. Hey, so I wrote this down.
Okay.
You wrote a poem about
Okay.
the fight.
Okay. Hey, he got
Actually,
big boy
I did.
notes.
Did you?
I 100% did. It's
All right,
right
let's
here.
hear it. Go ahead.
He did. Don't sing. No. What?
He did a poem. Yeah, he did. A little spoken word.
You know, goddamn spoken word. I can't do spoken word, but not this time.
You
My
honestly
name
look
is
like
Shawnee
you
T.
Yeah,
Shawn looks like he would do some
my
religious
T.
spoken word.
Yeah. Okay.
Like a combination of Kirk
you got
Franklin
over
and
there?
3
Lopez.
Stacks. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? Instead of going, let me ask you this.
Okay.
What did you see out of Lopez that you did not expect? Remember, let's go back to the interview.
I got
He's telling us that
Go ahead.
he had more,
In
in
the
the
arsenal.
arsenal than a lot of people even knew. Go ahead.
Patience.
Yeah.
Patience.
Yeah.
That was.
It doesn't show up until it has to show up.
Right.
My man never broke script.
Yeah.
Stayed focused, locked in. For a young cat, that was impressive.
Absolutely.
He still has a long ways to go in his career, but he stayed the course. Stayed the course. Whole Team Lopez did not stay the course. I seen people getting hyped. Even when he went back to the corner was a little hyped all over the place, he did not let that affect
That's
him.
what's up.
Yeah.
His pops was hyped.
Oh, for sure.
His pop was hyped, and he stayed. He just
And shout out to Teofimo Senior
That's how it
too.
goes.
Who predicted
That's how it
this.
goes.
And I said, I don't know. If I went back to a corner and they hype, it probably would. Okay, I gotta go do this.
You up, yeah.
But he just stayed the course, man. Stayed on the jab.
Yeah.
Footwork was better than I thought.
Yeah, he was
Footwork better than
pivoting
I
with
thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lomachenko.
Yeah.
What about you?
I would say the footwork for sure. Patience. I'm not sure if I didn't expect patience, but I was impressed with how patient he was. If anything, I would say kind of like what you mentioned, surprised Lomachenko was the speed of Teofimo. I think, and I don't think any of us thought Teofimo all he can do is throw bombs, but that's what you're thinking of. You're thinking he's gonna be. It's his power that you're concerned with. But I think his footwork was good. They were doing a nice little dance when Lomachenko started to pivot a little bit more and start to use his footwork. Teofimo was able to do the same, and so it made a nice little back and forth there. But yeah, I would say probably the speed would have been the number one takeaway for me.
One thing about me that I love to do in the ring, and one thing I saw to Lopez, and one thing I'm always looking for when I watch a fight, who's the dictator?
Yeah,
And it's not that I didn't expect Lopez to be the dictator, but the way he did it.
yeah,
And who he did it against. I don't give a damn if y'all think Lomachenko's overrated. I'm gonna talk to y'all.
yeah.
I don't care. I don't give a damn if y'all think 396
And
amateur
one.
fights, whatever it was, y'all don't think that matters. It does.
Yeah.
And for Lopez to get in the ring and do what he did against this guy, stopped his offense.
Yeah. Yeah. His offense stopped the other guy's offense.
He stopped his offense.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm dictating this tonight.
Yeah.
Another thing, yeah, Shawn, just to cut you off. My bad, man. Don't hit it with that. Loma was overrated. This and that.
No,
he was legit. We all said everybody seen it.
Yes.
Lopez came in there and did the damn thing.
And what that does, and that was
Because haters do that.
And that was some of the takeaway. Oh, Lomachenko, I knew he was washed.
You can't
He's
do that.
too small anyway. So what that does is not only is it stupid and inaccurate, it also takes away some of the shine off of Teofimo.
Yeah, that's
which you shouldn't. Teofimo won. He went like Ant said.
Amazing game
Went and got the
plan.
belt.
They come out popping the jab
3-0.
with
Yeah.
speed and power behind it.
Yeah.
You know, and even though you're touching gloves, I remember that you spoke on that yesterday. Even though you're touching gloves, you're delivering the
Action a little bit.
you're delivering the
Aggressor?
No, you're sending the message.
Okay.
Even though I'm not hitting you in the face, I'm sending you a message that it's
can.
fast and it's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
Don't keep doing this
Yeah.
because it's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
The one time you don't do this, something bad's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And you stop a guy from doing what he does well, and that's exactly what they did just last night.
Yeah.
On top of that, the fact that they never allowed Lomachenko to get started.
No.
I love that.
Yeah, the fact that it took, even if you give him the 7th or the 8th, wherever you think he started to assert himself,
Right.
he didn't just decide to do that.
He had to.
But that wasn't like he wasn't like, you know what? I'm just gonna come in here and just kind of hang out for 7 or 8 rounds. Like he may have thought I'm gonna start slow,
Yeah.
and figure him out. He's been out of the ring for 14 months,
Yeah.
But he didn't think that, and then he got in there, and something we talked about it.
Something delayed his
adjust.
start.
Yeah, the fact that Teofimo did something to make him adjust and say, you know what, maybe I shouldn't throw as many punches as I normally do.
I'm back hyped about what happened last night because
It was crazy.
When you
It was
talk about
crazy.
styles make fights, and I think within saying styles make fights, I think one thing that's lost in that is game planning and being fight ready for a certain fighter and doing what needs to be done against that fighter. Lopez and his team, I have to give credit to Teofimo's dad
For sure.
because if anything, I think one of y'all asked where would he come up short at, and I said his corner. I don't know, maybe I was doing an interview with Shawn or something like that, and I said his corner because I knew the limited experience that Junior had, amateur and pro,
And the senior
respectively.
has. Yeah.
Obviously, senior has that lack of experience as well,
For sure.
which clearly shows up. I did not see the corner, but that shows up in your
Yeah.
excitement in the corner. Now, it is what it is, man. Like, be excited, and your son's putting it down, and everything that you guys have wanted is about to happen. I love it. Be excited. Now, because they've had that experience, you will definitely see the next fight. It's going to be more like clockwork.
Yeah.
May still be a little excited. He's an excitable guy.
For sure.
But I don't think it'll be at the same level as it was.
It might be.
I don't. He is what he is. Sean.
I don't. Yeah. He's not. This isn't like a young. This isn't a young guy. Yeah, that's all of a sudden gonna mellow out.
He's stuck in his way. That's like asking your dad to change.
My dad's a little bit different now.
No, he's not.
He's not.
No.
From what we know, but not from what you know.
I'm telling you from my experience in corners, in fights.
Your dad used to be like that?
My dad is a little different than the way he used to be. It shows up in times where, and then I look back on the fight after the fight. Yeah. I'm like, damn, like I thought he was gonna yell at me about this, or I thought he was gonna come harder about that. Yeah. And the delivery is just a little different than you expect, but it comes with maturity and having gone through it. So
let me ask you this from. Not even just the fighter's perspective, because I want Ant to chime in as well.
I'm like, we got to do something.
So
about this.
So with the build up to the fight,
take your damn suit off.
There's a lot of trash talk. Obviously, there's a lot. No one typically is like, oh, this guy's that I'm fighting is unbelievable. He's gonna knock me out, whatever. But I think how much of what they said about Lomachenko do you think they believed and that they were proven correct? Because before the fight, Teofimo Sr. and Jr. were both like, I don't think he's the guy. I don't think he's that guy.
They believed at least 90%.
Okay.
And I did not believe that they felt that way or were believing everything that they said going into the fight. Again, once you see it happen, then you can really see
hindsight 2020.
Yeah, you can really see, that these guys not only are they for real, Lopez and his father, but they're gonna speak how they feel, and their actions are gonna come right behind their words, and that's a rare commodity in the sport of boxing because as well as I know, there's a lot of guys who are gonna talk and they just cannot walk that walk the same way that they talk it, and to see everything really kind of translate in the ring for Lopez and his dad last night was pretty special.
And it's funny because it was the opposite. Obviously, in a build up to a fight, you say stuff you don't mean. That happens. 99% of fighters do that. But for Lomachenko, he was like talking about, I'm gonna punish him. In my country, you have to back it up what you say. Yeah. And then you stand there for 6 rounds and you don't back up what you say. So I think it was interesting to that point where he maybe even was like, especially in his head, like, oh, I don't think it was that he overlooked him, but I think part of it was that he underestimated him.
Yeah, I think he underestimated some things. I think that possibly even overestimated some things as well.
You think it's power, maybe?
The power.
Okay.
I think coming into the ring with that kind of respect for his power, I think it played against him.
Yeah, I would agree.
Because it prevented him from being himself. Not everybody can change their style for a particular fighter. And I think that was the case last night, where you have a combination puncher, a puncher who, again, is normally the dictator, has been the dictator since he was a youth, and now the bully is being bullied, so to speak. I think that everything just kind of backfired on the whole team. I felt like even in the post fight interview, you could see that Lomachenko was a little just kind of distraught with everything that had just happened. Second loss as a
shit didn't go as planned.
Things didn't go as planned. Even your game plan didn't really go the way you expected it to go. Lopez didn't. He really didn't play the music you expected him to play. Yeah.
You cannot give up half a fight.
No.
Sean, can you imagine you giving you? Can you imagine?
Think of how mad he was when Jason Rosario.
30 seconds.
Those 7 punches.
Sean, can you imagine just dodging for 5-6 rounds?
Absolutely not.
And knowing you have to be perfect for the next 6.
And just to touch on the scorecards, just for a second.
Crazy.
We don't agree with that 119, 109.
Hell no.
We don't agree with that.
No.
This is what happens, or at least this is what I feel happened and is known to happen. Judges, they become accustomed to what they see.
Yeah.
And so when you see a guy being aggressive and you see a guy controlling the action, you kind of fall asleep in that.
Yeah.
And so once the tables turn, it's almost like you're a little oblivious to that because you're kind of used to that, again, that trumpet playing one sound. And it's like once it starts to turn and it's playing another key, you're stuck in the other key because that's kind of what your mind knows, and how it's almost like what you unconsciously told yourself is going to happen. A lot of judges predict the fight.
Yeah.
The fight either starts to go the way that they think it's going to go, and they go with that.
That's terrible.
I know. Or it starts to go the opposite way, and they start to go with that. You know, you don't have the judges aren't really trained, I don't think, enough. They're not judges aren't trained enough to be able to sense the different turns that a fight can take. Yeah.
First off, the car was an embarrassment. You should be ashamed of yourself. But secondly, for kind of what you were saying, is it a combination of what you're expecting? We'll use you because you're here. I know Shawn Porter is an aggressive fighter and he's going to come forward. So you have that side of the equation. And you have the other side of the equation where you don't throw. Mm-hmm. So is it a combination of he didn't do what I expected and he didn't do anything? Because I think there's a difference between if it's somebody that you know is more of a defensive fighter. Maybe you're like, okay, I know this. Floyd Mayweather.
Absolutely.
I know he's gonna counter punch. He's gonna do that.
Absolutely.
I know Lomachenko throws a lot of punches. He's not throwing a lot of punches. So A, he's not fighting like himself. And then you can, like you said, just kind of get into I'm not giving him, unless he really does something, this guy's just dominating him. But to have him winning run around is just embarrassing.
I've been to conventions and I've been to conventions and gone to all the meetings because I just, that's what we're doing right now. I thrive in this, you know, so I want to always know what I'm talking about and actually see what's going on.
Yeah.
Go to a judging convention, a judging meeting, and the lead official who's practically coaching, training, telling these judges what they should be doing, things like that. Stay off of Facebook. Stay off of social media. Don't watch YouTube videos. Don't watch interviews.
During the fight or before?
No. Yeah, right. During the fight or before. Before the fight, you're supposed to go into every fight that you have
with a clean slate.
Practically blind.
Okay. Goes
even further. Don't talk to another judge about what the fight that you're going to be judging next. Well, eventually fights are announced, and you see who the officials are going to be. Don't walk up to him and say, "Hey, good job.
This one,
I'm glad you got it. I put my bid in, and I'm glad it was you."
Yeah.
Look out, because they're going to be subliminal messages that are going to be sent.
Yeah.
Enjoy that one. It should be action packed. Now you're looking for an action packed fight, and if the exact opposite happens, you're messed up.
Yeah, or even fighter specific. If you're like, "Oh, I'm Shawn Porter, Sebastian Formella." Oh man, Shawn Porter is gonna kill him in that fight, but have a good time.
Yeah.
Then you're like, Shawn Porter didn't kill this guy. Like, what's going on?
Exactly. So
you can't even have like pillow talk with your wife, husband.
No.
I mean,
either or.
Dude said that. Dude said, don't talk to your spouse. Because you sit there, your spouse is into what you're into.
Yeah.
Your spouse watches the fights. Your spouse knows the fighters. Your spouse may even want to talk to you and give you some tips.
Yeah.
Don't go for it.
Right.
You stay off of all of that, and you're supposed to go into every fight blind and expecting what happens
kind of like jury
to
duty.
happen. Yeah, almost.
You don't want to go in with preconceived.
Exactly like jury duty.
Preconceived notions.
Because another thing people don't know about, some of these judges are actual judges for court.
That's
judges
not
for
ideal.
the government. Judges for their state and their city
based on
or
some
whatever.
Of these scorecards I'm seeing, I'm not confident in that.
It happens. You know, it happens. And you know,
it's a shame.
Again, last night when I saw the way Dre had scored the fight, I understand how he could have scored the fight the way that he did. And again, I understand how the one official could have scored the fight, giving giving Lopez, I think, 11 out of 12 rounds.
You understand how they got there, but you don't agree with it.
No,
I was like,
all right.
I just wanted you to clarify.
I don't even know how you understand how they got there.
I don't even agree with what Dre scored the fight.
A draw?
He scored the draw. I didn't agree with the draw.
I had a draw.
I felt like that was Lopez's fight. I feel like
you had, 7-5?
he needed to have his hand raised.
I don't care what the hell he needed.
Yeah.
What the hell? What did you? Okay, all right, cool.
I had a
All right.
7-5.
Sean has like a
'cause
movie. He has like a movie.
I feel
script.
like you should be undefeated. Nobody give a damn about what I feel. Get to work. No,
I think-
actually hit one loss.
Relax.
But I think I think like what Ant's saying is, you can't play a storyline
Yeah.
like with Teofimo.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, like, for instance, last night, I'm like, hey, he won that round. And you guys like, no. Yeah. I told you, I'm thinking how the judges think. I'm like, I've been in this sport so long now that I'm going to start to think the way a judge thinks opposed to the way a fight fan would think or the way Shawn Porter would think. And it's because I'm just so used to things going the way that they go. You
I
see
hope I never
119.
feel that way.
Yeah, I mean, but it is what it is.
I don't want to feel that way.
No, you don't want to accept it. And I think at some capacity, I've accepted some of the things that happen in boxing with the understanding
You accept
that
the bullshit.
there's nothing you can do about it. If this is my sport, if this is the sport that I want to change, then I have to learn how to change it. And that's one thing that I've seen.
I'm glad that
We've all seen.
I'm glad that it was a side narrative coming away from the fight, the scorecards, because we've had fights where that is the
thing.
takeaway.
Yeah.
But I think this one was Teofimo A, Lomachenko not really showing up B. Yo, those scorecards were off. And I didn't see anyone on social media agree with the scorecards.
Any of them?
The 119, 111. I didn't.
Oh,
see,
yeah.
I didn't see anyone that
Nobody's
was
gonna
like,
agree with that.
anyone was like, hell yeah, he only won one round. Like nobody agreed with that, which is good.
Yeah.
Which is there's a lot of crazy things in this world. I'm glad we can all agree on that. If that brings the world together, that we can all agree that 119, 111 was crazy.
Hey, listen, let's fast forward. What did this do for boxing?
That was a great stepping stone for boxing on ESPN. Just anybody can see it wasn't on pay-per-view. I mean, we had people watching next to us and they were hyped about it, just regular when it got going.
When you can pay a fighter what he feels he deserves to be paid, and he's able to get that. If it's network television, that's probably the best thing for
Especially
that
a young
fighter,
young guy,
yeah,
too.
and especially for a young guy, and for boxing, because we already know you limit your audience when you do pay-per-view, you limit your audience when you do paper televised programming.
Yeah.
Because you're basically just getting the diehards at that point.
You get the diehards,
Yeah.
but in this case, Lomachenko, who had a very significant name in boxing, but also in America on ESPN,
For sure.
and then Lopez, young 23-year-old. This is the beauty of it. Now you have a lot of Americans who may not have known Lopez, but Lopez 23. You write the narrative of everything that he can do for the next, say, 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now you have so many people watching this guy for the next 10 years. Not only that, they're looking to see who's the next 23-year-old to do it.
Yeah.
Who's the next 22-year-old to do it? Is there a 21-year-old out there that can do it?
First off, let me clarify. There's not a lot of 23-year-olds that can do what that dude did yesterday.
But it becomes a snowball effect.
For sure.
And I think that more than anything, that's the effect that boxing needs. Everybody talks about boxing dying and it being, lost in the sauce of all these other sports, and in particular MMA. It's not that it's lost, it's not that it's dying, it's just that people aren't aware.
Yeah.
And I've been saying this for a long time. You just got to turn on the TV and find it. And when you find it, you will see something great. The thing I'm going to say about last night, I said, if Lomachenko wins this fight, we'll see greatness performing, and we'll see greatness in the night. I said, on the flip side of that, if Lopez wins this fight, he would have had to have done something great that night in order to pull off this virtual upset that nobody or a lot of people.
It wasn't a virtual upset. It was an upset.
Yeah, 100% was an
Odds-wise
upset
as well.
And so we witnessed greatness last night.
Yeah.
Again, if we go back to it, it didn't really have the explosions that we expected.
For sure.
Great finish.
Yeah, for
which
sure.
is I couldn't ask
7
for
through
anything
12
better.
was a beautiful thing.
Yeah, thank God for the finish. That could have been bad for boxing. If he never shows up.
Oh yeah, no.
I was worried about that too, man.
Yeah, I was too.
I'm like, come on, don't do this to me, man.
And then there were points where he started to land, and I'm like, no, boy, you can't give this up.
Yeah.
I'm like, you cannot get it. Remember, I'm up on my feet. Like
It was bad, man.
Hey.
I wish you were there because they were going every time he threw a punch. They were going.
This how
wild.
bad it was. It was so bad that I would sit down and be like, "Yo, chill out. Why you so?"
You say it to yourself?
Yeah, I'm talking to something like, "Yeah, chill out." Like,
Yeah, I won't repeat what I
You
said.
should have
to
smacked
I
shit
won't-
out of him. You said,
I won't repeat what I said. To him, but I said something that
well,
later.
say
in
it.
the fight.
I don't know what you said.
Oh, so again, every time Teofimo is throwing punches, again, I'm not taking away from Teofimo's performance, but every time
this is not towards you right now,
No.
Lopez. This is towards Shawn and Shawn.
Yeah. So anytime
Shawn from Fight Hype, by the way.
he's throwing these punches, and they're like, "Oh man," they're going crazy, and I said, "You guys sound like some bitches right now," because they were going.
He did say
My
that.
guy.
He did say that.
My guy.
It was crazy. Like they were every single like. Oh. I'm like, relax.
And through that nonsense, I tried to defend myself. I said, "Hey, it can happen at any time." That was it
Hold
right
on.
there.
They act like they're watching a heavyweight fight. Like, it really could happen anytime.
Yeah, they sounded like some punks. It was
Was you even like that for the Wilder fight?
it was surprising. Yeah.
I
so you that
was
guy.
Shook for the. Man, I was on another level for this Wilder, the last Wilder.
You was
fight.
worse than that? And you was working.
Oh no, yeah. No. I mean, I was dead quiet.
Yeah.
My legs were shaking, and then the fight started happening, and I'm like D, like I was praying. I was like, you know, I got ESPN all around me, so I'm like under my breath, like, come on, baby, you.
Oh, you like we home.
Yeah. I'm like one.
Oh, you a wild boy outside the ring.
Hey,
Huh?
no, it just depends on the time.
Who
of
you
the
know.
day.
It depends on how close your relationship is with the guy.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
You know
starting
how
to
it goes.
realize.
You know how it goes.
Yeah.
I think going back to what you were saying about it being good for boxing is the conversations that can go from it.
Yeah.
Where Teofimo does that, and then even some of the conversations, even some of the routes that I don't think, like where you're like, was Lomachenko washed up? Even those conversations, it's still a conversation.
And that's why I said we gotta have the rematch. And I wouldn't mind a rematch immediately.
Yeah,
I'm down.
We need a rematch.
I wouldn't mind the rematch immediately.
That's why I didn't like his dad saying why, and like, come on, man.
Oh, his dad said that's what he said.
Lopez and dad kind of said why.
But I also, surprisingly, I saw a lot of people that like know boxing on Twitter were like, I don't
What's the
really
point?
care to see a rematch. And I was like,
What?
how not? Like, I think that fight could go 10 different ways.
I think
if that happened again.
that could be explosive.
I agree.
Yeah.
Double the money, audience. Because I want y'all to get paid. That's what I'm about.
I wonder if from Lomachenko's perspective, if there's interest in that. Because like you mentioned, Teofimo and them were kind of like,
I think he just said something about it'll go different.
yeah, but I think for him, he's 32, he's done it. Like at that point, do you just go back to 130 and just start?
You don't tap out at
Waste
32, right, Sean?
No, not 'cause by the time you're hearing this, Sean's 33. So, but I think, with Lomachenko, I don't think. I just don't know if he sees a benefit to. I lost to this guy. Should I fight him again, or do I just go down and just?
I think
do what
the
I did?
warrior mentality.
That's what
he
I
fights him again.
I don't know what I don't.
We
know
don't know what his
he's- I don't
warrior
know
mentality
because we
is.
haven't had to see it.
We haven't had to see it, but not
Yeah.
only that, you know, when a guy he can't really.
That's crazy. We were literally saying this. We haven't seen this from Lopez. We haven't seen that from.
Yeah.
Now we're saying we haven't seen this from Loma. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just-
7 days.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's gonna be interesting just because I don't know what unless he has that in his mind where I need to get this one back. If I'm Lomachenko, I probably don't fight him again.
I want to see him.
I do.
Yeah.
I got to
wanna
run
see
it back. He runs it back. He has to.
Yeah.
But based on, and again, after the fight, like we kind of mentioned before, fighters will say anything after, but he wasn't like mad. Like he was just kind of like,
I couldn't. Yeah, I couldn't.
Is it he wasn't mad? He got dominated, or like obviously we don't know. Or he wasn't mad. Like I know what I got to do.
That's my point. Like
I know what I
you
gotta do.
can't
It
really
Didn't seem like it, 'cause
translate.
he was like,
to us.
I thought I won. But
Yeah.
I'm judging. I'm looking at him, and his facial expression. He was just kind of like, I have to go back and watch the tape.
Hey,
blah blah blah.
Let me tell you. I lost. Young dude got in my face, practically mauled me and outboxed me for 12 rounds. I was able to do some things near the end of the fight, but the game plan didn't go the way I wanted it to go.
Yeah.
At 12 rounds, I'm exhausted. Dude at that point was mentally, physically, emotionally exhausted.
Yeah.
And really on top of that, not speaking English, he couldn't express and translate how he truly felt. And again, if he spoke English, and if you have more time on air, you ask some more, maybe more in-depth questions to really figure out where he was at that moment. I know that's what would have happened to me.
I guess I'm going from my personal experience. I haven't seen many fighters have that afterwards. Usually, if you think you won, or it was close, or you got upset, or you're mad, you react in that way. Look, the only one I can think of that was kind of different was Anthony Joshua after Andy Ruiz fight.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
he was the better guy.
kind of the same.
Yeah, but
Except,
he also got knocked out, so there wasn't.
Well,
like
yeah.
dispute.
I was gonna say,
But
except
can you think of somebody else like that gets interviewed after the loss where they're just like, yeah, I think I won, but have to watch the scorecards.
Not really.
Every time
Not
they're
really.
like, Adrian Broner got smoked by Pacquiao, and he said that everyone knows that I won.
Yeah.
Again,
Adrian Broner's a jackass.
he's a bit of an outlier,
Yeah.
but with that, I just think it's something I just didn't really see off initial reaction that he's like, oh, I really got to get this guy back. I think, because for me, he's 32, but I think Lomachenko can go down to 130 and start doing what he did again. I don't think this was like, yeah, I know. I don't think this was like,
I'm being checked up on.
yeah,
We started real late.
CMOS. But I don't think he was exposed, and I don't think this is the end of the road. Shout out to Boys the Men, where we see where Lomachenko just fades off, and we're like, yeah, he had a good run, but
I don't particularly or usually like the expression exposed, but
you also don't like end of the road.
I don't like end of the road. It always kills at the end of the night, though.
That's what you said. It was the school dance. Sean said it was the school dances.
Yeah.
Because when you knew when Under the Road came on, the school dance was
Yeah,
over, and
yeah.
it was a wrap.
But he may have been exposed.
Let me ask you. Let me counter that. Was he exposed because of what Teofimo is? Who else can do what Teofimo did to him yesterday? Legitimately.
At 135?
Either 35 or 30.
You are.
That's my question.
You didn't hear what I said last night. Maybe you weren't in the room, but Tank Davis is still the most explosive
Oh, I forgot about Tank.
and dangerous fighter at 135 or 130. This fight coming up with
Well, my
Leo's
problem
at
with Tank
130.
is I don't know if he can go deep waters with with Lopez. Because I'm not even at his training, and I can see Tank not working hard. Like, in edited video.
Nah.
Okay?
Nah.
In edited videos.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean you tired?
Did you say in edited videos?
Yeah.
He's saying the highlights aren't the highlights.
Yeah, I'm like, come on, you could have edited that out.
Yeah.
But I think with Teofimo, I think one of the big advantages he had was he's a lot bigger than Lomachenko. And I don't think there's a lot of guys that are a lot bigger than Lomachenko that are also
At 135?
Still
that
also
are also
feel like
skilled as Teofimo is.
Again, remembering that I was an undersized middleweight as an amateur, undersized middleweight, and even welterweight as a professional. And I don't concern myself with size because I feel that there's always attributes that can trump for me. That can trump that size.
That's what I'm.
And I feel like that was something that they may have, again, overestimated or put in their minds into the game plan going into the ring.
What I'm saying is the opposite, though. I'm saying that not only is he bigger, he's also that skilled. So I'm not saying that a guy at 30 or 35 that's tall can beat Lomachenko the way Lopez did. I'm saying how many guys are taller and
that's good.
can have that game plan that can execute that with the speed of his punches and with the power to make Lomachenko respect it. I just don't know anyone that can do that.
To me, even if they don't do a rematch, all road leads to a rematch. Who can touch them at 135 on their side? Because you know how the BS of the boxing.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, because you got to think about the BS.
I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
on their side.
Or lack thereof.
Yeah.
I
Who can
forgot
touch
about
them?
that. Yeah, I mean,
Because you got to think.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out to
They've all
Top
been
Rank.
beat.
That whole setup was amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Hey, I want to give. Hey, you guys doing it the best right now.
Yeah.
And the undercard was good. We don't need to go in depth into that, but the co-main was pretty action packed. We saw an instant replay. which was cool.
Oh yeah,
Instant whole fight.
So everybody,
Which was cool.
and then everybody comes to me, Anthony. What's the? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what's
None
going
of
on
us-
right now.
'cause- and there
Come
was-
on, you got a podcast.
And the
I don't know what's happening right now.
and the best is when they
Gotta
put
be
the
prepared.
and the best is when they put the little light up on
Yeah,
the ring
I'm
to
like,
show.
what's
And I was
going
like,
on?
well, that's what they do in soccer. There's VAR, which is the replay, and so on the jumbotron it says VAR checking, so that's how you know they're checking it. But they literally put a little light on yesterday,
Yeah,
a
so
yellow light.
that was different.
And I'm
So-
just like, that's how we know they're.
What's this-
Was that so that was your first time?
That
seeing
was the first time they did it.
No. Top Rank's the only one to do it so far, I believe.
That was the only time
I
I've
thought
ever.
it just started like Friday. It was something like
that
different rule.
Definitely
It's
two,
only in
possibly
Nevada.
3.
That was the only time I've
Possibly
ever seen
3.
it. But that was funny. But I thought that fight was good. Shout out to
Necessary too.
Yeah,
The replay.
for sure. It was,
Yeah,
they got
yeah.
it.
Moment like that,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
They end up getting it right with and then with even the undercard with Berlanga.
The young kid.
Keeps the streak rocking, man.
Yeah, man. It's funny because I think true boxing people they're like, all right, well, let's wait to see him get in the ring with somebody real.
Yeah.
But to have that kind of streak along the way is pretty awesome.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I wasn't, as somebody who considers themselves a pretty decent boxing man, I wasn't familiar with him. I'm not overly familiar with Top Rank in general. I know the guys, but I wasn't familiar with them, and so I got over, and they were like, oh yeah, he's knocked out everyone in the first.
Yeah, my
round.
man's been running through people during the pandemic.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm like, how is this dude knocking out everybody in the first round?
Is he ready for like a big step
No,
up?
he got to keep going. He
You got to
build.
keep going.
Yeah,
I mean, they're going
he
to
hasn't
put
faced
him in a
somebody yet.
situation. I remember I was about 6-0 and I hadn't been past 4 rounds. And so they were at that point talking about they were saying we have to find someone who's going to take Shawn rounds.
Yeah.
So that needs to happen. They're going to have to find someone who
Can
you know
survive.
can challenge him for a few rounds.
Can they though? Can they find these guys? That
You got to
can
find
challenge
somebody
him?
that can survive. That's it.
Yeah. I mean,
That can take a beating.
at 154?
No, he's above that. He was
160?
Yeah, I thought he was at 68.
We got a guy from Germany that fights at
68,
147.
Yeah, he's at
Oh,
68.
68?
We got a
Yeah.
guy in Germany that fights at 147 that can survive that long.
Nice.
Oh.
You saw what he did. No, yeah, he's at 68. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't know enough about him from a grand scheme of things
Yeah,
perspective to
yeah.
know if he's ready for not a step up to like the elite ones. I don't want him in there with Caleb Plant tomorrow.
my whole thing is when I don't know a guy like that, I just kind of look at who's around him.
Hey, my man's a star
got-
in New York, though.
He's got
Fat Joe, Tracy Morgan.
Yeah.
Everybody's showing him love. I'm like, okay.
He's got Andre Rougier in his corner.
Yeah.
Daniel Jacobs,
sure.
old trainer. And
That was actually a fight that that Damian Lillard tweeted that he wanted to see.
those
It was
two.
Berlanga and Jacobs.
Oh man.
Which is a smidge
I mean, I can't.
early.
Yeah, for sure. But when you look into his corner, you see that experience.
Yeah.
You know that even though they aren't going rounds, you got a guy who's
Gone
knows
rounds
what it
as a
takes. Yeah,
trainer.
that knows what it takes
Yeah.
to get a guy ready for
sure.
your the length of a fight, and
He needs a Julio
again,
Diaz.
Yeah.
Adjacent to
Yeah,
your
I think
career.
15-0 with 15 first round knockouts now.
Yeah.
I think it's about that
Yeah,
time.
you need somebody that
Yeah, it's about that time.
you need. For me, the levels are guys. You're fighting just guys that get in the ring with you, and then you're fighting guys that are there to last and not to lose quickly, and then you get to guys that are trying to beat you,
Yeah.
or that are there to come at you.
Yeah.
So I
This
think
guy.
I think
I could
he's.
see it.
Man, it sound like Al
see what he
Heyman,
was-
Bob.
Hey, it's an Ohio thing. Shout out,
okay.
but I think with
Bob Aaron from Ohio?
No.
No.
He probably stopped in there from time to time though. But with that, I think it is something where
All right.
you have guys that I'm not sure why Bob Arum stopping in Ohio. was from.
Hey, just
never
keep
been to
going.
Ohio?
Just
But-
keep going.
But the no, so I think he might need to be he needs to get in there with somebody who is maybe not ready to take the fight to him, but at least is able to not be out of there within 3 rounds.
Well, let's end on this.
Okay.
The landscape of boxing right now.
Okay.
And I think right now we'll probably be talking Top Rank because I think we know what lies on the PBC side, Fox, Showtime. But right now I think the future looks extremely bright for ESPN, for Top Rank. Starting things off with Lopez, but you look at all the matchups that could be made right there with him, and you got a couple of young guns that it's almost like, hey, when do you pull the trigger? You know, you got the fighter, of course, gonna do and say what the fighter feels he wants to do and say. Throw him at me right now, Devin Haney. Throw him at me right now, Shakur Stevenson. Those type of guys that are
Ryan Garcia.
Ryan Garcia.
Yeah.
Golden Boy, but it doesn't matter. I mean, the future of boxing is just what we're speaking on.
Yeah.
And I think that when you see what happened last night with Lomachenko and Lopez, I think if anything, it gives you a more of a more open-minded perspective of what could happen in boxing, given any night, and given who's in the ring, given those styles, given those game plans and things like that. So, like Lopez said last night, if anything, I kicked it off, but these are some other young guys that are right behind me, and I personally, I feel like right now it's going to be at a point where he's at the top of the mountain trying to fend everyone off, and they're all great fights, I think.
Yeah.
Within the last year, starting off maybe with your fight, shout out to my boy Chris. Style makes fights.
Yes, sir.
But I would say you've seen a big example of style makes fights with you, Earl, Fury, Wilder, and so on. Just things has been changing with different styles, bumping heads in the ring.
I mean, could you name another big fight? Because
it's probably with Lopez Loma.
This one definitely counts.
Yeah. But is there one in between that? And
Charlo fights were both pretty decent.
No. I mean, like in terms of like maybe we can say Pacquiao and Thurman, because that fight I think was definitely clearly a fight of styles and how they contrast and what you expected opposed to what happened. I mean, you clearly saw it with my fight against Errol Spence Jr. You clearly saw it with the fight with Tyson Fury and Wilder 2. You clearly saw it with this fight. I think maybe if anything, we're coming into an age now where anything could happen. If
and that's exciting. That's exciting. You don't just want to see somebody dominate.
Yeah, and I think another aspect to it that kind of goes to what you were saying, where there's that younger generation, and what you were saying, where the styles match up. I think you'll have every fight between the young hungry guy and the proven veteran is not going to go this way. So if you have, so if you have 10 fights like this, I'm not going to think of 10 fights off the top of my head. But if you have where these young guys are testing them, some of them are going to win.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And
some of them are going to lose, and that's cool too.
Interesting enough, I think
everybody don't jump your ass in there with 15 fights. You ain't Lopez.
Exactly.
I'm telling you right now, get your ass toasted
for sure.
But now you're going to come into it like I was saying to Shawn Zattel months ago. Before I fought, we were talking about future fights and future fighters, and it was asked to me, hey, if this goes the way that a lot of people don't expect it to go, and Lopez wins this fight, does this kind of set a precedent for who could get in the ring and who could fight for championship titles and things like that? And I said, yeah, it does. So it's funny because on one hand, this is what happened just last night. Bob he took a risk. He put the money maker, one of the cash cows, was someone who I don't know if he's going to pan out. I don't know if he's going to make money. I don't know what's going to happen. And boom, it clashes. And now you got to basically do this 360 and put this guy out there.
For sure.
Promote this guy. Talk about this guy. You did all this work with this guy. But now it's completely reversed. And now you got to look and say, okay, is this going to happen again?
Business-wise for Bob, he could push both.
And
make some money.
Am I going to be willing to do this again?
And it's going to be a matter of, from the fighter's perspective, having that. As a young fighter, you can say whatever you want to in an interview. They can put a camera in front of you and say, I want to fight Shawn Porter, I want to fight Keith Thurman, whoever. But then when it comes to having those actual conversations, where you're like, yeah, I'd like to, and then if your advisor's like, nah, I don't think so, you're like, oh, okay, never mind, I'm good. So I think it is something where the fighters are going to have to say, no, I want it now. You mentioned it when we had Teofimo on. This younger generation's like, I want the smoke now. I don't want to wait. So I think it's going to be interesting where you do have those guys that one of my side hopes is, hypothetically, fighter A is the young guy. He's undefeated. He fights. He loses. He doesn't pull a Teofimo.
Right.
I like that he'll be able to have a loss and still be a good fighter and still be an upcoming guy. Exactly. Where that everyone always goes back to the era of Floyd, where that was everything. And so with that, if these guys, if this next generation that was raised on Floyd, if they're able to go into it and say, hey, I lost, but I could be 15-1 and then be 25-1, 5 years from now. So
what's a smirk for, Mr. Porter?
Because
Yeah,
here's the
confused as
thing:
well.
we're not saying that losing is okay. We're not
no.
saying
Hell
that,
no.
We're not saying that
No,
hey,
no,
if
no.
you got a loss, it's okay.
Yeah.
We're saying take those chances, create those opportunities, just like Lopez.
Yeah.
And when you get that opportunity, make the most of that opportunity.
For sure.
If it doesn't go the way you need it to go back to the drawing board, fix what needs to be fixed, and continue to compete.
Yeah.
Continue to compete with your heart.
Yeah.
I think if anything, very evident that Lopez competed with his heart. Shawn was here at the house. He said, hey, man, what do you feel about Lopez has his wife right there in the back room with him? Is that something you would do? I said, no, that's nothing I would do. That's not really my thing.
Yeah.
I said, but think about it. When I go to the ring, I got my dad right there with me.
Yeah.
That's my heart.
for sure.
I said, what's the strongest muscle in your body? Your heart. I said, same thing for Teo. When he goes into the ring, he's got his dad right there with him. He's taking his heart to the ring with him.
Yeah.
I said, everybody's different. Teo's got his heart right next to him before the fight. It's all good.
Yeah.
Do whatever makes you feel comfortable. But a lot of guys, everybody's walking on eggshells and trying not to break the ice. Do whatever you need to do to become a champion. And I think it starts with your heart.
Yeah. And you mentioned even with that. Nice. even you mentioned that with a loss not being okay and for a fighter not just saying, oh, it's okay. I think if Teofimo loses yesterday, I don't think he's like, okay, I lost. He's gonna be mad as hell.
Yeah,
he's gonna be motivated to go forward.
Yeah,
so
I
you
could
do
see-
that.
yeah.
So if you lose,
Yeah.
again, we're not saying, hey, go out there and lose. Who cares?
Yeah.
But take the chance, put yourself in position to where you're either going to take that huge step up, which Teo did, or where you're gonna stay there and you need to break through that kind of that glass ceiling where you got to this point and you need to get to that next step. Okay, I fought the guy.
Yeah.
Didn't beat him this time, but what can I do to get there?
You either win or you learn from the moment.
Yeah. Wins and lessons was what Ty Lue said when the Cavs were going to be bad.
One more, and it brings me to my last point. One more thing I feel fighters need to know is that you have more control of your career than you think you have. I think a lot of managers and a lot of promoters make it so that these fighters feel that they have to do what they're told to do and not what they want to do. And again,
Do you guys learn that
everybody is
later
Teo
in your,
Lopez.
in your career?
Yeah, I didn't learn
Okay.
until I was later in my career. I didn't,
Yesterday.
later is when I'm like, I need to do this.
Yeah.
I need to do that for me.
Yeah.
And with the understanding that my team's going to be right there behind me, and I think these fighters need to understand that you're entertainers. You are designed to fight hard and make money doing what you do. Don't take it lightly. And at the end of the day, understand that it's your career. It's no one else's career. If it doesn't go the way that you want it to go, it really is no one's fault but your own, because just like Teo, we all have the ability as humans to put ourselves in the positions that we want to be in. That's what we saw just last night.
Think about even just to close on that point, the person you're talking to about that is an advisor or a manager. They're advising you. They can say,
but
Shawn, I don't think that's the fight for you. And then you say, no, it is the fight for me.
And again, a lot of fighters don't understand
Yeah.
legally
Yeah.
what they are contracted to do, what they can do, and things like that. So, I mean, it's a learning process.
Yeah.
I'm here to do the best I can to give y'all the best advice that I can give y'all, and we will get to a point where we were taking questions from anyone out there, but we'll get to a point where we're specifically taking questions.
Don't act
from
no
fighters,
ignorant stuff.
from fighters to help y'all, to help grow y'all, and to help y'all understand what this sport is. It's a vicious sport.
Yeah.
It's hard to compete in.
How to navigate.
It's hard to thrive in. It's hard to stay in. It's hard to prepare for, and it's hard to really move around within the business of boxing. So we're here for y'all. God bless y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed the Porter Way. And if you get a chance, what?
If you need an advisor, reach out to me or Carson. We got you. We can make things happen, baby. Let's get paid like Don King. Hey, cut me off.
Jet black in the cut, waiting from the act to the bus. Where you
Don't
at?
tell me you didn't enjoy what you saw, because I know you did. What you need to do now, hit that subscribe button, hit the like, hit that notification button. Check us out every week, every Tuesday, something new for you right here on the Porter Way Podcast.